Hello and welcome, everyone. We're so excited to have you here today. Thank you for giving up your free time or your lunch times to join us. I'm Rachel James from the ClickStart team at the Open University. ClickStart with the OU programme is part of a nationwide ClickStart training initiative that's been developed by the Institute of Coding and funded by Nominet. Now, today we're exploring the incredible opportunities that come with studying Cisco CCST cybersecurity. Now, whether you're thinking about studying the course or you're already on the programme, we're going to outline how this programme can help you develop some of the valuable skills that are in high demand today. Throughout this webinar, we'll dive into how CCST cybersecurity can boost your career, enhance your understanding of network security, and open doors to exciting new roles in the cybersecurity field. So if you're ready to discover how CCST can be a game changer for your professional growth, let me hand over to Raquel Martinez of the Cisco Networking Academy. Now, she's responsible for supporting the professional development of instructors and consulting services about Cisco courses and the NetAcad platform. So you're in very good hands today. So it's my pleasure to introduce Raquel Martinez.
Thank you very much, Rachel. Let me just share my screen and introduce myself. So as Rachel mentioned, today we are going to talk about CCST and cybersecurity in general. So this could be like your first steps, in your cybersecurity career, or maybe you are already, halfway through it or wondering about cybersecurity. So I want to talk a bit about this topic today, which courses are available and opportunities for you. I want to start introducing myself because also, as I was telling Rachel, so yeah, I'm working in Cisco since 2017. I'm a Europe Technical Manager at Cisco Networking Academy. But actually, I was previously as well a student at the Open University. So I lived in Scotland for 6.5 years. And while I was over there, I decided to do my software development degree with the Open University. So I have, connections in the past with the Open University. And now I'm working at Cisco. So it was actually when I finished my degree with the OU that I started working at Cisco. My interest is, I did software development. So of course, programming was my core. But I also certified on CCNA. So networking, let's say, was my second, topic. And then also I'm interested in cybersecurity and AI. And since I'm working at Cisco Networking Academy, so I have opportunity to have access to a variety of courses. So then, I just like to learn whatever is coming and, pick all the new stuff. Then on a more personal note, so I'm passionate about technology, of course, as you may have noticed, but as well into like fantasy. I like games, like could be like video games, but also board games. And I play paddle a lot as well. That's my in the sports part. So with that, enough about me, but I just wanted you to see how, I went from, what is my background and what I can tell you about cybersecurity today. So for that, I want to start a little bit breaking the ice, with one question. Is if you can scan the QR code on the screen, or you can go to slido.com. I would like you to tell me what is the first word that comes to your mind when you think about cybersecurity. This will be interesting as well, just to see what people think. Is it on a positive note, a negative note? And I will give you a minute for you to join. Also, if it's easier for you to put it on the chat, maybe I can open the chat and I can say it. Complicated. Okay, I see some responses coming. Actually, two people say hacking. I see on the chat protection, cyber criminal, leakings of private data. Yeah, okay, many words coming. Virus, fraud transaction, data center, protect network. Good. People are the weakest link. And that's why we are here, because we need to learn more about cybersecurity and then spread the awareness to everyone. Vulnerabilities, very good. Awesome. And yeah, I also see the Terminator. Yeah, so as you can see, some people, the first word that comes to your mind may be like, yeah, let's say a negative feeling, like, something malicious, a virus, a scam. Uh, so, it may be a lot of like negative words, but we also have, on the protection side, people thinking more on, protect network, safety, infrastructure safeguard, and so on, right? And that's what we are going to explore today. So thank you everyone for participating on this little icebreaker. So first of all, let's talk about why cybersecurity is important and what are the opportunities in cybersecurity. Also, it wouldn't be an up-to-date presentation if we don't talk a little bit about AI and how AI is impacting cybersecurity. Then we will explore, the courses that we have in Cisco Networking Academy about cybersecurity. So many of you are here because of CCST, but then I'll talk also about other options that you may consider in the future. And then we will explore, one of the labs that we have on the course, so you also have an idea of all the practical opportunities that you will have into these courses. So let's talk about, the bad side, of cybersecurity. Like cybercrime is impacting everyone. So it's not only like a company, get breached and their data is stolen, but this is affecting like also, private companies, but also governments, water plant treatment, and of course, even individuals, like, anyone here could be affected by a cybercrime. And this is now even more common thanks to AI. So here I have some examples just for you to see the extent of the importance of cybersecurity. So we have an example of Uber in September 2022. They had a security breach, and the attacker was able to access employee credentials and therefore were able to reconfigure their OpenDNS to display a graphic image on internal sites. Okay, so that was one kind of attack that we may see every day, many companies that getting attacked. But for me, the ones that has like most impact, and let's say that when you see them, you say, wow, so that's really scary, is when you see also like a government, in this case, government of Costa Rica in April 2022, and they had to put the state of emergency in the country because of a ransomware attack. They were able to exfiltrate 600 gigabytes of data, and they took down like around 30 institutions. And of course, they demanded money for, like unlocking that data. And the government, at the end, they have to pay to be able to recover that data and bring all the services back. So imagine that this is costing money to the government, therefore to a country, and this is impacting then the lives of every citizen in that country, that maybe that money was destined to let's say maybe it was destined to innovation, maybe it was destined to ample employment, and then they have to put that money to something else. Then we have also an example of the colonial pipe. So basically this is a pipe that is transferring fuel. And due to an attack to this pipeline, there were like fuel shortages in the US. And just like some numbers, 87% of gas stations in Washington, D.C., they were out of fuel. And even like some airlines had to change the schedules or even cancel flights because they had no fuel at all. And, they took like around $4.4 million in ransomware to restore the operations. And the last one, probably the most scary one. So thankfully, nothing bad happened, but it could have happened. That it was the Florida water treatment plant. So there was an attack on the water treatment plant. And what the attacker did is they increased the levels of sodium hydroxide to 111%. And those are dangerous levels for humans. So meaning that they could just, access their systems, change some of the, levels of, some of the levels of the things that they are using to trap the water, and they could become something dangerous for life. So thankfully, nothing bad happened, and they were able to respond on time. But this could have affected like more than 15,000 residents in that area. And that, of course, is when nowadays, when something happens, we sometimes think, was that maybe like a cyber attack? It just come to mind, like it actually wasn't, but we had a blackout in Spain, like maybe already like a month ago. And one of the first things people were thinking, was that a cyber attack, right? Like someone maybe attack our electricity infrastructure, and therefore that was the blackout. No, that was not the case. But think that nowadays, when something bad happened, one of the first things that we think about is, was that a cyber attack? And also the cybercrime is changing. So especially the attackers, what they are looking for is money. So ransomware is becoming one of the most common type of attacks, because they just want to get more money. But also, as you have seen with the water treatment plant, also the operational technology infrastructure is becoming more affected. They are also thinking about ways to attack, to maybe cause some disruption that it could affect human lives. And then, of course, to add a little bit of more ingredients to this, is we also get AI. And with the increase of usage in AI, we have two sides of a sword. So we have AI is more and more used on cyber attacks, and therefore is becoming more of a problem for companies to defend against new types of attacks that maybe they are more insisting, they try new ways. But also we need to think that on the other side, we also have companies that can utilize AI tools to improve that threat detection and save the systems. So yeah, it's a double-edged sword. So it has potential to bring a lot of good, but also the potential to bring a lot of bad. And here I bring you also some examples of top generative AI cybersecurity use cases. So in most of the cases, they are used to identify risk for threat intelligence analysis, and to prioritize as well the threat detections. So it is used already in cybersecurity to help us monitor the network, analyze the threats easily and faster. But of course, on the other side, attackers are also using AI tools. And the problem here is that AI is much faster than a human is. So they can execute attacks much faster than a human. They also can adapt to different environments. They can continue learning and then adapt to any situation. They don't need to go on a break. They don't take coffee breaks. They don't go on holidays. They don't have weekends. So they can work 24/7. And they are also cost effective. You don't need to pay salary to employees, employees to other threat actors, maybe to help with this attack, and also helps to keep the anonymity of the threat actors. And just also to give you the example of the other side. So what are the top uses of AI by threat actors? So 32% make existing attacks more effective. So instead of inventing new attacks, what they are doing is the ones that they already exist, making them more effective. But they can also increase the volume of those existing attacks. And yeah, of course, they can also use it to create new types of attacks and see if it works. And the story of the first Bison attack using AI, it actually happened in the UK. And it was a voice generated AI impersonating the CEO of a company. So imagine that you are working and suddenly you receive a call from your boss, and your boss says, look, we need to do this transfer of 220,000 like euros, to this supplier that we have in Hungary, and this is quite urgent because we need to close the deal today. And you are hearing your boss, so it's him, it's his voice, and that you have this Hungarian supplier, and he's asking urgently to do this, to send this money. And that's actually what happened, but it was a voice-generated AI that it was doing the call. It was not the real boss. The money was transferred to the Hungarian supplier, that it was not the actual Hungarian supplier, of course, and then therefore they got the money. And this is an example of a company, and that was the first phishing attack using AI. So no one expected, because this was never used for this before. But now think about yourselves. Like, and you probably hear this already many times on social media, like, have a safe word with your family and close friends. What if someone calls you, but not even call you, maybe, video call you, and maybe you are seeing your mom talking to you and saying, I was, I just lost my phone and calling you from someone else's phone because, I just got robbed on the street and I need you to help me. Please send me some money because, whatever. But you are seeing your mom, you are listening to your mom. And how can you discover if that's AI or not? So that's why having a safe word, it could be, the way saying, okay, ma'am, what is the safe word? If it's AI, it won't be able to answer. But yeah, so those kind of scary things, it won't only happen to companies, it can happen, to every one of us. And this is why I think with all this information, I hope that I made clear that cybersecurity is crucial. First of all, because billions of people join the internet nowadays, not only from the phones, but even maybe you have devices in your home that are connected to the internet. You have maybe a Google Home, Alexa, many other devices. You may have like, I don't know, a smart fridge that is telling you, what are you running out of? And that's also connected to the internet. So more and more devices are connected to the internet, not only people. And there is expected to be like over 50 billion devices by 2029. So that's why cybersecurity is so important. And it is a lot of devices, intrusions and attacks are increasing every year. And this is costing a lot of money to companies, governments, and even people. And on the other hand, it's like, okay, we see cybersecurity is so important. And at the same time, we have a 4 million undersupplied cybersecurity professionals worldwide. What it means is like, we need people to protect the networks, and there is the skills professionals gap. So we don't have enough people to work on the cybersecurity field to be able to cope with the pace that the cybersecurity criminals are doing. So therefore, this is actually an opportunity. There is an opportunity for those who maybe are thinking to change their career or start a career in cybersecurity. There is a need for cybersecurity professionals. And of course, it may be like many people think, but what if AI, will be replacing some of those jobs? AI is going to displace us. So, well, actually, AI, of course, is going to change the skills that maybe are needed for those cybersecurity professionals, and it will help to cover maybe a little bit of that gap. That 4 million, that's impossible to cover just by AI. AI will be helping us on this job, but still we need people to be prepared with cybersecurity skills, to be able to protect those governments, those companies, and even raise awareness to the rest of the people on how cybersecurity is that important. Here, I want to bring you an example of or some itineraries that you could follow if you're interested to follow a career into cybersecurity. We have Cisco Networking Academy at the bottom, where we have this entry level that's the cybersecurity analyst. That is what is the CCST cybersecurity certification tied to. So this kind of job role, the good thing is an entry level, but it covers many areas. So usually it's people who are assisting in some other tasks to other professionals. And it's a good entry point because you will have a broad knowledge in several areas, and then you can decide to specialize on whatever you like most. I don't know how many people here, depending how much knowledge you have about cybersecurity, you heard of red teams and blue teams. So red teams are usually those that are the offensive security, meaning are those ethical hackers who are trying to find the vulnerabilities and produce assessments into a company to find what are their issues. And then it will be the blue team, they will be the actual defenders, the ones that are implementing the security measures. So maybe you are interested more on the red team area, the offensive security, and maybe a next step could be an ethical hacker. where, as I mentioned, you will explore how to do, let's say, attacks, but for good, right? And then we have the people on the blue team, and here we find like two different roles. We have a security operations center analyst, that it will be someone that is more analyzing the network, investigating the threats. It will be more like the detective type, right? And then they will be the one saying, hey, I think here we have a problem, and pass it to the next person. And then we have the network firewall security engineer, that it will be those ones who will be actually implementing the security configuration into the devices to make the network more secure. So if you are more into configuring actually devices, probably the networking firewall security engineer could be something that you will be more interested about. And then, of course, there will be more, professional steps that you can take after that. And here I give you, some examples of some other positions that you could apply in the future if you continue into the pathway. But today we are going to focus more on this, bottom level, on the entry level. And as I was mentioning, this cybersecurity analyst is someone who is like supporting on many activities. If you actually check here the list of skills, you have things from, okay, understanding core security concepts, but then you have here assisting on many, many topics like network security, data analysis with software security, malware, identifying management, applying risk management principles, incident response, disaster recovery. So it's covering many of the areas of the cybersecurity tasks that could be found on a SOC. And they will be helping other more experienced professionals. So this is ideal for people who don't have any previous experience on the cybersecurity field, or maybe a little bit of experience, so from 0 to 1 year. And it will help to gain an understanding of many of the areas and then decide what will be your next step. And the CCST cybersecurity certification is, these courses that you are, probably doing right now, the cybersecurity essentials or the mini courses version, will lead and prepare you for this CCST cybersecurity certification, this entry-level certification. Also here, I give you some example of the job roles that you could find that you will be ready to do after you complete the certification, things like junior cybersecurity analyst, cybersecurity technician, cybersecurity specialist, or tier 1 help desk support. So if you will be interested on this exam, so what can you expect? So this exam is a 40 to 45 questions and around 50 minutes. It will take you to complete. So you can, take it with a Pearson Buoy Center, or maybe directly, in a testing center near your area, or maybe even some schools also offer this option. And it's available also in many languages. The good thing, and also what is different from the rest of the Cisco certifications, if you know about them, is that it has no expiration date, meaning that once you take this certification, you don't need to retake it ever again. Why? Because this is an entry level, so it's expected that if you take this certification, you already have the basics to go into the job market. And therefore, once you gain experience, you will probably go for associate level certification, and you won't need to gain this certification again. Here, this is the whole portfolio that we have in Cisco Networking Academy that matches with what I've been talking to you. We have Intro to Cybersecurity. This is a course that it just helps everyone to raise awareness about the importance of cybersecurity. Then we have endpoint security, network defense, and cyber threat management, that the three of them, it will be the cybersecurity essentials pathway. And they focus on, different areas. So endpoint, so more on assessing, the network edges, network defense, more to how to monitor and evaluate alerts in the network, and cyber threat management, more into governance in cybersecurity and how to manage the threats. If you would like to go even farther from that, maybe in the future, we also have CyberOps Associate, Network Security, and Ethical Hacker that will go more on the second step, right? Like above the entry level, more on the associate level. And all of these courses align to industry standards. So NIST, that is the National Institute for Standards and Technology, aligns the cybersecurity into this framework. So the first thing is identify the threats, then protect the network, then analyze and detect if there is a threat, then respond to the threat, and if the worst happened, then recover. So that's the cycle of the cybersecurity framework. The junior cybersecurity analyst pathway, that I will be the CCST, is covering, as I mentioned, all of this. So you see that it covers not everything, but most of it, like identifying, protecting, detecting, and a little bit into the response area. And then you will be able to deep dive into whatever area you find more interesting. Now, I also would like to know a little bit, how much you know about cybersecurity, or maybe some things we already mentioned. So if you want to join for a little quiz, this is going to be only 3 questions. And this is meant to be a little bit in the middle of the conversation, just to see everyone is still awake, and and just to have some fun. So don't worry, there is no problem if you don't know about it. We are here to learn. And that's also the interesting thing. Let's ask some questions. If you don't know, then we will learn the answer. Okay, so I see people joining. So let's give them a minute for people to join. And don't worry, they are not like, very complicated questions. And it's only 3 questions, so this will be fine. In the meantime, while people join, let me check if anything on the chat. Yeah, for example, I see Carlos mentioned in the chat that there may be like 4 million posts needed, but most of them, like 95%, they ask for experience. Well, but also think about that, the mentality of some of the companies is changing, because there is such a need for cybersecurity professionals that more and more companies are thinking to maybe look for people with less experience, and then they can just train them themselves, right? Sometimes it's better just to take someone with no experience and train them to fill that gap, than just maybe be waiting for people with experience with no one with that experience is there, right? So hopefully, that landscape will be changing. Okay, I think we have 35 people. If someone is still joining, don't worry. The QR code will still be on the site, so you will be able to join. So let's go maybe with the first question. So what is the most common type of cyber attack? Let's see if you know about this one. So phishing attack is 82% of people voted. So let's see, you are right. Very good. So a phishing attack is, how many emails, messages do you receive every single day that are like, someone trying to do a phishing attack? Okay, so let's see another question. What is the top use of generative AI by threat actors? Oh, and option 5 over there, I think just yeah, someone voted the option 5. So make existing attacks more effective. That's correct. So I actually mentioned it on the presentation that, increase the volume of existing attacks is also correct, but the top use is actually make existing attacks more effective. And the last question. So what are the most frequent incidents experienced in the past 2 years? I see data breach, 64%. Very good, well done. So yeah, I see, majority of people here, they already have, some understanding and knowledge about cybersecurity. So congratulations. So Rob, you were the number 1. You were the one that got everything right and the fastest. So congratulations. Okay, so with this, I hope that, we have more energy to continue into the presentation. And let's focus a bit into the cybersecurity essentials courses, or the 3 courses if you take it on the mini courses option. The first course, that is endpoint security, it focuses on, how to assess the network, the operative systems, different endpoints and vulnerabilities that you can find on those endpoints, and how to secure the network. This is around 40 hours, but of course it may depend on your previous experience with cybersecurity. It has a lot of labs and packet tracer activities. For those of you who may be already into the course, you may already have completed some of them, and I will show an example of a packet tracer activity. And this is, a demand for security professionals, that continues to grow, and this will be very important knowledge that you will gain through this course, as well on how to maintain the integrity, confidentiality, and availability in the network and the data. One thing that I didn't mention so far, but hopefully you already know, is that once you complete a course, if you get more than 70% on the final exam, you will get a digital badge. And that digital badge will be like, something that you can put on your, social media profile. If you're using LinkedIn, you can put it there. And then, a potential employer could go and validate and check that you got a digital badge and which kind of skills you gain that are linked to that digital badge. So for those who may be looking for opportunity on cybersecurity, that will be maybe something beneficial to have that badge. Then we have network defense. So in this case, we were talking about endpoints. Now we are focusing more on the actual network and the devices in the network, and how to monitor and evaluate security alerts. Also covers like different tools and techniques that are used to protect the network. Things like, firewalls, cryptography, also cloud security, access control, and so on. Again, this is similar in length to the previous course, so that's around 40 hours course. That again, we have many labs and activities. And also we will see like some of the activities will be on Packet Tracer, but we also have available a virtual machine where you can complete some of the activities, like cryptography activities, for example, how you can use stenography to hide one file inside an image without anyone noticing. And that way you can hide, information securely. No one ever noticed that there is something there. And then there is a way to, extract that file then on the other side. And the last course, that is the cyber threat management. This focuses more on the policies and the, ethical standards, legal and regulatory frameworks. But still, even if it sounds a little bit more theoretical, it has also a lot of activities. Also think that this is the last course of this pathway. So it's a little bit shorter, it's 20 hours, but then, you will have then the knowledge gained from the previous courses, and some of the activities may summarize, all of that. And again, I didn't mention for the previous one, but for all of these courses, you will have the digital badge available. So one thing that I want you to explore about the course, and I don't know if you already done it, but one thing that is available, and I think is really good if you are getting started, is my knowledge check. So at the beginning of all of these courses, you have something that is called my knowledge check. So I don't know how many of you have tried. But basically, this is not a test. So this is not like a pass or fail test. This is actually an AI-powered test that what it's doing is analyzing your responses and basing your responses with what is covered in the course, giving an indication of what is your knowledge in different areas. Since it's using AI and it's analyzing your responses, it may vary in length. So you may do my knowledge check and maybe it only asks you 20 questions. Maybe someone else will take 35 questions. And also there is one possibility that you can answer, I don't know. And maybe this is the first time you are learning about cybersecurity and you answer to everything, I don't know, and that's okay. Because as I mentioned, this is not a pass or fail. This is just to give you an indication of, maybe you already know something about cybersecurity that you didn't know that, you know that much about it. This is an example of a report of what you will get. Then you will get an indication by different modules on, what is your level, maybe like beginner, intermediate, advanced, or master. And then that way it can give you an idea of how you can go about studying this course. So let's say that, okay, maybe introduction to cybersecurity, I get a very high level, but maybe on the cybersecurity landscape, let's say I get like a very low score there. So I know that that will be an area where I will need to work more. And you can take this My Knowledge Check as many times as you want. So let's say that you want to take one at the beginning of the course, maybe while you are, let's say, around module 3, you say, okay, let's take it again. I want to see if I really learned, that much about the first modules, and then you can compare your score with the previous one. Or maybe you want to take it at the end of the course also to see how much you have learned. So this is something really interesting in the courses. So I hope that you make use of this, because it can help you a lot on, first of all, it can motivate you if you see that you are not starting from zero. So there will always probably be something that you already knew, and therefore, you are not starting from zero. And then also you can see, how much you are advancing, and, probably helping you to continue, right? Saying, okay, I already learned that much, I can do even more. Then one of the things that you will find is the labs in Packet Tracer. And as I mentioned, now we will see an example of these ones. Those labs, it may be maybe to, as this example, have maybe a data center server room, a data center POP, and how you can configure the wireless router, or the different clients of the network, how you can verify connectivity and the security settings. But there will be a lot of labs. And it is pretty good, because when you are working on Packet Tracer, it doesn't matter if you break anything. At the end, it's not a real device or a real network. So don't be afraid to break anything. That's fine. You can always restart the activity, and that's the best way that you can test how you are learning through the course. So with that, let me switch to my Packet Tracer and show you an example of some of those activities. This one, I always like it because it's good when you are starting in cybersecurity to understand the different areas where cybersecurity is important, or you can find a threat. It's called Investigate the Threat Landscape. And we have here like let's say a city. We have the ISP where everything is connected, and we have here a home with a smartphone. We have a cafe, we have a branch office, and the data center. In this activity, actually, it has like 3 different parts. So the first part, it covers more about the network configuration vulnerability. That is telling us a story of a friend that he knows about cybersecurity, and it's coming to our home, and it says, while I was waiting for you to open the door, I saw that I was able to connect to your wireless network, and I was even able to access your router. So there is something that you need to do about this, right? And how the friend is giving some advice to protect their home router, to add some security to it, maybe some filtering. And this is one of the first part of the activity, one of the examples that we have here. The second one, we are actually going to be playing a threat actor, creating a phishing attack. So for that, we are going to use the branch office. And here what we will try to do is we are going to create, as I mentioned, a phishing email. And we are going to be playing like the threat actor, and we will be then coming here, playing as someone working in the office, click it on that email, and therefore start the attack. And the final one that I also like to show a lot is the cafe. So how many times maybe you go to a cafe, it may be with your laptop, but it may be with your phone, and maybe you are, even when you are traveling, that maybe you don't have that much data on your phone, and you are always looking for Wi-Fi to connect. So this is a very good example of what it could happen. And probably, and hopefully, you already heard that, be careful when you connect to an open Wi-Fi. And which kind of information you share when you are connected to that open Wi-Fi. Like if you connect to an open Wi-Fi in an airport, don't go and log in into your bank, okay? Because then you are setting that information over the network, your password, your credentials, and if someone is listening, then they could steal that data. And this is what is happening here. So we have a laptop that is, let's say, us, that we are sitting in a cafe, maybe I'm traveling and opening my PC and I want to answer some emails. So I will come and connect my PC. And actually, when I come and open my PC and I want to find a wireless network, I will come to, let's see, to find how many, the wireless network of the cafe, and I will come here to refresh and look for some of them. This is a bit slow today. And I see like there are a few of them. I have Cafe Wi-Fi Fast, and actually this one has better signal. So I'll probably choose this one, right? And I will connect to this one. And okay, I successfully connected. But actually, and of course, you probably already saw this and thought that was suspicious, right? We have a guy here sitting also with a laptop, a hoodie, and there is also a backpack. So we are not in real life, so we can investigate his backpack. So let's open the backpack. And what we can see here is he actually has a wireless router. And this wireless router also is connected to a sniffer. What it means that actually this threat actor, what it's doing is trying to impersonate the wireless connection of the cafe, and also has a sniffer, so it's going to read all the information that is crossing through whoever connects to this router. But moreover, what it's doing in this case is doing a DNS attack. So it created a DNS server that it has, let's say, some of the most common websites, and is redirecting them to a malicious website. So when someone on the PC comes and says, okay, I want to go to google.com, then because it's connected to that router, it will redirect to a malicious website and actually shows a screen saying, we stole your data. If you want to access, if you want to get it back, pay us. And that's like it's actually not a ransomware attack because it's redirecting to that malicious website, but it's making the person believe. Imagine that instead of google.com, I try to connect to maybe one of my social media accounts or my bank, and then I get that. I think that my account was stolen, and then, that probably I want to pay. From something that simple, of course, in real life, maybe they are more complicated attacks, but at least it gives us the idea of, how easy it could be to even create an attack in a cafe. And the idea of the course is not to teach you to do the attacks, but more to be aware of the, possible threats, help to identify them and respond. Then we also have some labs on virtual machines. So there is a virtual machine that it has all the tools that you will need to complete the labs, tools such as Wireshark that you will use to monitor the network and analyze some of the threats. Some of the activities as well, you will do it using just the command line on the terminal. And you will use tools like John the Ripper, for example, to break some passwords, and many more activities. So if you're really interested about cybersecurity, all of this hands-on experience will help you understand and gain more experience on that knowledge that you are gaining through the courses. Here also some of the other examples of the labs that you will find on the virtual machine, other tools like Jcrypt tool, and also you will use the Linux command line for accessing some of the files and some of the tools. So also the good thing is the only thing that you need to run these labs is you just need a PC. This is the recommended specification. So hopefully, like nowadays laptops will be able for it because a minimum of 2 GB of RAM. And just internet access, and a virtual box, for example, to run the virtual machine or any other virtualization tool. And then packet tracer that you can download from netacad.com. If you are doing the courses, you will find probably at the beginning of the course, before you do your first activity, the link to download packet tracer. Well, with that, I covered everything that I wanted today. I hope that I raise, awareness of the importance of cybersecurity, that if you were thinking about going into the courses, now you have a bit of understanding of what you will find there. And it's again, I'll recommend you even to take my knowledge check at the beginning if you are still unsure about going in there. You will see that maybe you already have some knowledge, and then you just need to build upon that. So Rachel, I don't know if we have any questions that you want me to cover.
We do, actually. We've had quite a few questions, and there's still time. If you've got a question, and you can still put it in the chat or the Q&A box, and hopefully we'll get round to it. So there's some questions. I'll start with, I'm starting a cybersecurity degree at the OU in October. I've noticed that many jobs require experience and knowledge in various areas, along with different qualifications. Should I pursue additional qualifications like Cisco or CompTIA on top of my degree? Any advice would be greatly appreciated.
Yeah, I mean, of course, depending on which kind of jobs you are applying to, you will find that there will be like different skills or different, tools that they want you to have experience with. So it really depends on what you want to focus. Ideally, these courses will prepare you for an entry level that, it will cover the basics that you need, but whatever you add on top, is going to give you an advantage. So my recommendation will be analyze a bit, what is the next step that you want to take if, after you get started on an entry level job, you want to focus, let's say, on ethical hacking. Start exploring not only on NetAcad, there are also a lot of tools online that maybe even you can use. There are tools like, I don't know, it's this like Hack Me that you can do like activities and learn by doing as well. So yeah, it is so broad that it's very difficult to give just a very specific, advice. But yeah, I will say, think about it, like, or maybe just get started with the basics. And while you are learning or you are working, maybe you will discover what is the area that you like the most. Also, maybe the other advice I could give you is look for those maybe postings of jobs that you may think are interested, and maybe analyze what is the most asked skill, right? And maybe you can focus on that one. That will give you the most advantage then to apply to those kind of roles.
Brilliant, thank you. Another one we've got is a lot of roles are supposedly going to be taken over by AI. What are your thoughts of the future of cybersecurity careers? And is there any way to future-proof ourselves if we want to get into this career path?
Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, we just released last week an AI white paper that is analyzing these jobs and how AI is changing, those roles. Actually, on the area of cybersecurity, the impact is, let's say, medium high, meaning yes, AI is impacting some of those roles, but especially for some of the tasks that they are going to be, automated. So it doesn't mean that your knowledge is going to change, but well, maybe some skills like you need to know about AI ethics and maybe some large language machine understanding. So there will be some AI skills that you need to gain along the way. But AI basically is seen more as a tool that is going to help you on more repetitive tasks. So not coming to replace, but to help. And I can see that, like, even on my role nowadays, I use AI like almost every day. I don't see it replacing my job because, at the end, there are things that still AI is not able to do. Who knows, maybe in 15 years, maybe that will be a different thing. But I see that it helps with maybe more boring or automated tasks or repetitive tasks that maybe it can help you with that. So I can maybe send also to Rachel the link to this AI white paper if you would want later to analyze those job roles, because it was just released that last week. I was reading about it, but I didn't go in depth into all of the roles because they are analyzing several roles. But yeah, that's the general information I got from that report, that is more helping than just replacing people.
That sounds great. If you could send me that, I'll make sure
Yes.
it's included on our newsletter so everyone can get to read that. It sounds
Sure.
really fascinating.
Yeah.
Another question we've got is about the technical skills required. Someone has asked, I have minimal knowledge, but would like to get into cybersecurity. Do you need to have any technical knowledge to study CCST? And do you have any other advice on how I can develop my knowledge and experience?
Yeah, that's great. So usually what do we recommend when you come with no knowledge? Like, well, first of all, think that all of our courses, especially when we release them as well in a self-paced version, we think of a student who may be going on their own and may have no experience. So they are think in a way that someone with no previous knowledge will be able to finish those courses. Maybe also what I can recommend you is the Introduction to Cybersecurity course that maybe can go well before this. It can give you a little bit more about awareness, about threats, things that maybe you are not aware of, and also how to protect yourself. So I always recommend that course to everyone. So maybe I would recommend you to go first to Intro to Cybersecurity. Not because you need it, but maybe because it's going to help you gain a little bit more confidence going into CCST. But anyway, CCST, and if you take it in that sequence, if you start with endpoint security, is going to give you some of the knowledge that you need. Also, my other recommendation could be if you don't have much knowledge about networking, we also have some of the networking. There is a course actually called Networking Basics that maybe you can also review. And that will also help you, because on the cybersecurity, yeah, we are talking about cybersecurity, but what are we protecting? The network. So you need to have some basic knowledge of networking. If you also don't feel confident on that area, I will recommend you to check some of the networking basic courses that will also help you, maybe complete the CCST pathway. And they are very similar. You will have also a lot of labs. So I'm pretty sure you will be okay completing those.
And someone's asked here about the cost of the exams. Now, I know we sort of briefly spoke about this before we started our webinar, Raquel, and I know that the team at ClickStart with the OU, we are talking to various organisations and partners about how we can offer that that exam, because it's not just something you can sort of just take online whenever you want. It has to be an administered exam with somebody proctoring the exam. So we will be communicating that when we've got some more details for you. But we are very aware of it. We've had quite a lot of learners who are very interested in taking that and gaining the industry certification. So hopefully in the next few weeks or so, we'll be able to communicate a bit more information about how we can offer that as part of the programme. It may be an additional cost. We also hopefully going to be offering it as an incentive for anyone who's completed the course up to the criteria that we're thinking. So we are very aware of that. So if you want any more information, keep an eye on the newsletter, and we'll be getting that out as soon as we have anything. We've only got time for a few more questions, so I'll try and squeeze in as many as we can. Raquel, somebody's asked, these certifications are offered by Cisco, and hence not vendor agnostics as compared to CompTIA, Security Plus, and CSA Plus. How can they be leveraged when applying for entry-level cybersecurity roles in other companies, not necessarily with Cisco or in a Cisco affiliate?
Well, that's a great question, and I'm glad you asked it, because yes, the CCST certification as well as CCNA, CyberOps Associate certifications and so on, and they are Cisco certifications. However, if you look at our courses, they are very neutral on that sense. So we are not teaching you only about the Cisco protocols. We are teaching you as well for, like every protocol that is used. So when you go for, to work on networking, even though you've done a course from Cisco, you are going to be able to work with any other vendor devices. Okay, so it is not, our learning pathway and portfolio and courses, they are vendor agnostic. So even though they are Cisco, we teach you to learn networking, we teach you to use, to know cybersecurity, not Cisco, let's say, devices or solutions, right? For example, the virtual machine that we have on the cybersecurity, so we are using like Linux machine. We also use cybersecurity, the security onion as well in other courses. So we are not using our own tools. We are not teaching you about Cisco Firepower, solution or so on. So yeah, whatever you learn in here, even if the certification is Cisco, any vendor will recognize it. And the good thing, and not only because I work at Cisco, but Cisco is very well recognized in the, in the job market. So if someone sees you have a certification from Cisco, usually has, a lot of value.
Brilliant. And a kind of question that kind of leads on from that is, would these certifications be valuable to all industries and entities, like government, private companies, charities, or are there specific certifications depending upon the entity type?
No, they are, across different areas. So when we are talking about cybersecurity and you see, some of the examples, it could be that maybe you are working in a small company that, is maybe more to just secure your own company, but maybe you will be working in a government position, that it could be working with with the government, it may be on the healthcare side. It may be on OT industry, maybe on electricity, in manufacturing. So it may be in many areas. And at the end, the network is the network. So it was, and protecting the network is going to be similar in those different areas.
I think we've got time for just one more question. I hope this is a quick question. It says, I'm currently building a home lab and creating various cybersecurity VMs to gain practical experience. Would this type of hands-on project be valuable to highlight on my resume during an interview?
Of course, I don't know why even you doubt it. So, I think especially when we are working on this field, if you have proactivity to even create your own labs and and test it yourself, I think that's something very valuable. And even if you have like a great lab that or a virtual machine that you have created, maybe even you can create like a short video showing how the virtual machine works, and and put it in your LinkedIn page and promote about it. So I know at the beginning sometimes we tend to be a bit shy, and it's like, oh yeah, I created this, but maybe it's not that good. But no, if you have that proactivity and you like what you are doing, that will show in the interview or the resume, and of course it will help you, and the interview will have a good impression of you.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much. That brings us to the end of our session today. We hope you've been inspired to really get involved with the CCST course. You can find the links on the course platform for the Click Start with the AU program. I did put a link into the chat earlier. As you know, the Click Start program is only available until the end of September. So if you need any additional help to make your way through the modules, please get involved in the forums. We have expert educators in there who can help answer questions, help you get through the course. So please do use them. If you have any further questions, you can always either post in the forums or email us on click-start@open.ac.uk. Now, thank you again for joining us. We'll hope to see you at the next event. A recording of this will be available on our course website in the next few days. And I'll obviously include a link in our newsletter as well. That only leaves me to say thank you very much for joining us, and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.